What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Ridge here to talk some MLB prop plays over on Prize Picks for Tuesday, May the 2nd. May is finally here, and so we finally can start to put some of this data into use where we can believe some of these crazy sample sizes and start to really apply some of the numbers that we found over the course of the first month of the season. But let's dive into the plays for today because I do like some of the stuff I am seeing. Some young pitchers on the hill that I think do have quite a bit of strikeout upside. Let's get into it right after the intro.
He's got it! What a catch by Mookie Betts.
A lot of names that if you're not a Pirates fan,
So we will start off with the hitters as I always do. Bo Bichette is one of my favorite targets today. Minus 130 to go over his total bases at 1.5. And Bichette is on fire right now. Absolutely human torch on fire. Seeing the ball so well. Hit leadoff yesterday. Hit another 3-run bomb. I think you got to take him. Like against Tanner Houck, who's been good and bad. He's had his moments this season where he's been great. He's had some moments where it hasn't been so good. Minus 130 to go over. 3.3 total bases per game over the last 7 and 2.1 over the course of the 14 and 2.4 on the season. With a 500 average versus Tanner Houck in 6 at-bats, I think you got to roll with it. Bichette has been phenomenal, and I don't say that lightly. I think what he's done with his approach to stay away from pitches that are down in the way from him, not swinging at that stuff, has drastically helped him, and Bichette has been a monster. Take Bo Bichette today, whether you want the fantasy score or the total bases. I think both are great, but as you can see, already juiced to minus 130 and could get higher from there. The next is targeting Michael Kopech. Kopech is not good. There's really no other way to put it. He is not good. His fastball and slider in particular are the two pitches, as you see here, that he throws most often, and they are getting hammered right now. You see Joey Gallo, and he's one of the better plays. His total base is at half a base. For some reason, juiced to the under. Now, the reason why I don't love this play is it's kind of home run or bust with Gallo. At least that's how it seems. He's 1.8 total base over the last 7, 2 for the last 14, and 2.1 on the season. But if he doesn't hit a home run, he's probably not going over. And so it's a tough bet on Prize Picks to bet his total bases because at least on Prize Picks, you kind of have to pick a line. But if you're betting on Joey Gallo's total bases, you might as well bet the home run because even though it's like only plus 280, which I think it is, let me see actually because I have it right here. His home run right now, last time I checked it, it was, so it opened at 275, now it's 300. Either way, it's very low. But at least you'll get your money's worth if you do take Gallo there. But I do really like Gallo for his total bases. And again, it's targeting Kopech because he's been awful. And same thing with Buxton, right? But I'm taking the Buxton hitter's fantasy score, averaging 17.8 over the last 7, 12.1 over the last 14. He's been hitting a lot of home runs, and I think he can again against Kopech. But if you look at their actual profiles, Gallo is doing much better against sliders. And so that's where the favoritism for Gallo comes from. And the reason why you want to take him, that 4.37 is the combination of his approach versus sliders and how bad Kopech's slider has been on the course of the year. So Gallo been really crushing sliders this year. So again, I really like Gallo. It's why I really, really, really like the play. But it does kind of suck that we can't just take a little bit more money, a little more value on the home run. But I do like the total base as well. And like I mentioned, I do really like Buxton. Hitter's fantasy score of 8. He's been on fire. Now let's talk about the strikeouts because there are a couple guys I do like for their strikeouts. Look at me. I just got too many categories here. Let's just start putting some of this stuff away. So I have the opening lines on DK, and I could touch on those a little bit. But let's hide it so everyone can actually see all of the data here. So Tanner, it's not Bibby, it's like BB or something. He's a Cleveland starter. Very good control, 8 Ks in his first start. But facing the Yankees, this is where I struggle with this play a little bit. I really like what he did in his first start. His control was there. He struck out a ton of guys, but the Yankees aren't striking out a lot. I believe when I looked it up, they had 8 Ks in their last game and 6 Ks the game before that against Texas. And so you think about that's over the course of a game. That's not against the starter. That's over the course of the whole game. So they're not striking out a lot right now. And Tanner's more of a finesse pitcher. Like he's not going to blow you away the way Mason Miller will. And while there's no line for Mason Miller, that is one you definitely want to look out for. So the line has moved a little bit. It opened up at minus 125. It's now minus 135 to go over. The projection, again, it's with okay data, 1 start. The control will be there. The Yankees have been struggling with the bats, but it doesn't mean they're going to be whiffing a ton. So it's an interesting one that you could look at. I don't love the line, but I mean, he had 8 in his first start. The upside is definitely there. He's a great pitcher, great prospect. It's just I'm curious how this line will move. If it goes to 5, it's absolutely do not bet it. I don't think it's worth it at that point. But I think at 4.5, you could take a shot if you wanted to. And then there's Mason Miller, who I really like. Like I mentioned, this one opened up at minus 105 to go over. Now it's already 115. I think it only goes up from there. Hey, this, unlike BB, he throws heat. Heat. I love Miller, and you can see the biggest factor here, Seattle. 30% K rate over the last 14 days, which is absurd. And Miller throws gas. He has great strikeout stuff. He can definitely strike out 5.5 Mariners, and with how high their strikeout rate has been over the past couple of weeks, he could easily do it again. So I really like Mason Miller. Look out for his line. Hopefully it's 5.5. It should be based off what we're seeing on DK right now. And then Patrick Sandoval under 5.5 strikeouts. He's barely averaging 4 strikeouts a game. I'm projected for right around 4.5. It's already minus 130 to go under. It opened at minus 120. So that line again is moving towards the under. You will probably see a 5 on the board on PrizePicks later this afternoon. But for now, we do have the 5.5. Mason Miller over 5.5. And Tanner Beebe, or whatever you say his name, because I don't actually know how to say it properly. You could look for an over there. And if you weren't playing a ton of Kopech, you could look at his under strikeouts as well. I didn't highlight it because you can't take hitters versus pitchers on PrizePicks, of course, because why would they let you stack that way? But the under strikeouts for Kopech does look good as well, and it's predicated off the fact that, one, Minnesota hasn't been striking out a ton, but also the fact that I expect him to get hammered, so the strikeouts probably won't be there for him. Now, again, you can get hammered and also strike guys out, so I don't want to say that that can't happen, but I don't expect him to go over in this one. But these are the kind of guys I'm looking at with Tanner and Mason and Patrick. Under for Sandoval, over for Miller and Beebe. I like both those plays. Look out for Miller. He is definitely a good option. You see 30%. I'm loving it. I'm loving it today. And then for the hitters, Bo Bichette over his total bases at 1.5. Joey Gallo over his total bases at 0.5. And Byron Buxton over his hitters fantasy score at 8. And if you do want to see this home run chart again that I put together, I can kind of show that. These are some of the stuff I'm looking at for home runs. So again, I pull the lines for home runs, see how they move. You see Gallo already up a little bit, so he's a little bit overpriced, but that can definitely change. And part of this is, again, looking at how these hitters perform against these pitchers and kind of identifying some value here. Steven Matt's pretty good. Hunter Renfroe looks like he's in a good spot. But yeah, it's all Kopech. It's all that slider and that fastball. And all these hitters profile well against Kopech's fastball and slider. And that's why we're targeting him today. But that's it for me today. As always, if you tail, give PrizePicks hell, and if we fail, do not bail. I kind of showcased a little bit more than I usually do behind the curtain today, so hopefully you found some value in that. But yeah, fade Kopech all the time. Stack against him if you can. But a lot of young pitchers on the mound today that I do really like that we can take advantage of. So look out for that Mason Miller line because he could be in line for a huge game against Seattle because they've been striking out a ton. But good luck today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe for more. I'm out. Peace.
He's got it! What a catch by Mookie Betts.
A lot of names that if you're not a Pirates fan, you probably don't
He's
know.
the closest thing we've seen to Mike Trout.
Yeah, the best team in the American League.
The Yankees have the most intimidating lineup in baseball.